Goodnow, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. Today is Thursday, February 12th. We're rounding out another great week of streams with one last episode of helpful news, commentary, answers to your crypto questions, and we are so thrilled to be joined by our good friend. You know her and love her from TikTok, where she posts as the Bullish Babe, her helpful live streams, as well as her live streams with Cosmic Crypto, Cosmically Bullish, are super educational, super entertaining, and we're just thrilled she's joined us. Please welcome for the first time on the Rise Up Morning Show, our friend Chelsea, the Bullish Babe. How you doing?
Oh, you are muted.
Oh, no!
You muted yourself in StreamYard.
There we
You're
go.
muted in StreamYard.
Okay, so I unmuted on StreamYard. The problem is I can't hear if I turn it down.
Oh, no.
Oh, interesting.
Can't hear? Well, go ahead.
I have to hear it out of the TikTok, like out of my phone, and now it's echoing.
Oh,
no.
Gosh. Oh, my gosh.
Goodness gracious.
What happens if you leave the speaker on your TikTok, but the microphone? Oh, I see.
No, because then it's going to echo.
What? Yeah. What a thrill.
Sorry.
Okay. No, it's okay. It's okay. Don't fret. We're not all we're all not very technical, so this would be a good challenge for us.
We could just have unmuted on TikTok, muted, mute the studio mic on StreamYard, and then we'll do the audio route from.
And we'll make sure your volume on the phone is turned up. That's perfect.
Phone.
So,
I know.
Yeah, you turn up your volume on the phone. Chelsea, turn your mic on mobile, off computer, and everybody in podcast land, this is what it's like when you come backstage, or we just wanted to give you a taste of the pre-production experience. It's your favorite fake radio show, and this seems like a good chance to remind you that if you've got a question and you want to speak to us live, then here are some opportunities to do it. The first important place you need to know is community.rumshq.com, rumshq.com. You create a free profile. You can start chatting with us and all of our friends, users at all ages, shapes, sizes from everywhere around the world who are trying to figure out cryptocurrency together. And today, Thursday, we host an after show in the Circle community. It's totally free. You can get on stage with us, ask us your questions in an environment where nobody's going to just spam the chat with comments, that kind of thing. We also have other opportunities to explore, get to know us, go deeper, but they all live at community.rumshq.com. Are we set? Give it a test. Mic check.
Mic check.
I've got you. On TikTok, that's where we need to unmute.
Yep.
Then we've got her. Still muted.
No, still muted on TikTok.
There you go.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
There we go. All right, here we go.
We can do it.
We got it, guys.
Amazing. Welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me, guys. I mean, I've obviously watched your show since I've been on TikTok, and it's so cool to be up here with you guys. And you guys are just, all three of you are so kind and nice and great for the community. And obviously, you know, Cosmic and I were like, you know, when we started our show, we're like the Rise Up is the thing, right? That's what everyone is listening to. So I'm just happy to be here today. Thank you so much. You guys have helped the community so much, and we obviously have a lot of the same crew and crowd, and they're just such a good community, and that's what you guys have really cultured here, and so I respect you guys so much.
That is so kind of you to say. We respect you and appreciate you too. It's great to know we have so many friends. Like you say, it's a culture, it's a community. On TikTok, where we all came up, you can watch Doug in the morning before us. A lot of people do. They come to the Rise Up Morning Show and then they switch on over and get into your live. People are going through live streams all day. There are people who are doing friendly, helpful, educational content. So if you haven't seen it yet, for people who don't know, can you introduce, like, what is your content oriented towards helping people learn?
Yeah, so I'm a day trader in crypto, and I learned I've been in crypto 6 years. I've been trading and charting for about 3.5. And what I try to teach people on a daily basis is that if you learn charting and if you understand where the charts are showing you that they're going, because most of the time the charts will show you exactly where they want to go. What changes that is momentum, volume, and news sometimes, right? Sometimes the news will change the direction. But most of the time, if you can see the charts, you can actually make money off of the charts, right? But what a lot of people don't understand is a lot of people think that they can get in, do really high leverage at first, and make a ton of money overnight. Just like people think about crypto, right? We don't think about crypto as a long game. Most of the time when you first get in, you think of it as a short game. And then you realize pretty quickly that it is a long game. And that is the same with trading. Trading is not a short game. It's a long game, and the game is to stay in as long as possible and to survive. And the more you survive and the more you protect your capital, the better off you are.
Yeah,
excellent.
I just want to echo that you can make money just by going off the charts. And oftentimes, like a lot of people are like, well, how can you make money in this market when like the president tweets and everything changes, right? It's like, well, if you zoom out on the chart too, it really doesn't change much, right? The trend is the trend and it's going to keep going until the trend changes, right? So you really can find a lot of clarity. And if you don't know what insiders are doing, but you can see how money is entering and leaving a market. So, you know, if you want to see what insiders are doing, you got to be able to learn how to kind of read the charts, and you're not going to get perfect. I'm not perfect at it. Bullish Babe isn't perfect. No one's perfect at it, but you can get a way clearer sense as to how money is actually moving. And if that's different from what politicians are saying, or if that's different from what Larry Fink is saying at the head of BlackRock, right? You can get some real tea leaves to read here, and you can definitely put yourself in a better position to make money.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, you know, they come into my live in the morning and they think, you know, I'm live trading. I don't live trade on stream. Reason being, there's too many new people in this area, and a lot of people have lost money in their buy and hold bag. And so if I go on there and I live trade with leverage and people see me win, most likely what they're going to do is they're going to copy me. And they're not watching their trades like I am. And they don't know that they haven't trained for 3.5 years, and they don't know that. Some of them have, but a lot of them haven't. And that's why I don't trade live on stream. And you don't actually have to trade to know charts. If you know charts, you can just buy, you can have better entry prices, right? So charting is for everyone, not just for traders.
Yeah, and I also like to say too, like technical analysis, and if that's a new term for you, it's just the art of reading a chart and finding patterns and playing those patterns. It's not like an oracle of truth. It helps you to create a better guesstimation, if you will, right? Because things can always change, but it just takes that, like, you know, I could be right with this much amount wrong to just then, okay, I could be right with this much amount wrong, right? It just helps to improve your odds, and then you add in some proper risk management. And even if you lose more trades in a year than you win, you make sure your losses are small, your wins are big, and you can make money, right? There's a lot of different ways to kind of skin this cat, but reading a chart is so important. So Bullish Babe, I love that you're out there teaching people like,
thank you. You as well. Yeah, you as well. I think that, you know, I tell people in the stream every day, you should be watching multiple traders, right? You should be watching multiple traders and multiple chartists. What I don't want them to do is come into the live and copy my strategy completely, because that's not what I did with anyone that I ever watched. I watched a bunch of them. I took a piece from each one of them that made sense to me, and I made my own strategy. And that's what everyone should be doing with charting and trading.
Yeah. Ooh, on that topic, as Evan and Alex, I pushed both of you to the side, and now Chelsea, it's just you and I talking.
Go for it. We're just sipping our coffee this morning. This is exactly why we wanted you to come here,
this was
Alex.
always the plan.
I'll see you backstage, man.
So I'm curious what trading strategies you may have tried and you go, this just isn't working for me, and just kind of push to the side, despite there being other traders making a lot of money. For me, it is like Elliott wave theory traders. I've tried it. I see it. I can like kind of pick it up, but I just have a really hard time making it work for me. So I'm curious if there are other methods that you found that just didn't necessarily work for you, but do work for other people.
Actually, that was the one that I was going to say.
Okay.
So I have tried, you know, I've been in Jay Dan's, obviously he uses Elliott wave pretty heavily. And I've been in there and tried to learn it. One thing I will say is that not every strategy works for everyone. Elliott wave and Wyckoff makes sense to me. However, I don't use that in my strategy at all. I'm a very pattern heavy trader. I use patterns first, then I use support and resistance, and then I use diagonal trend lines, all with the Stokes and the RSI and the moving averages, right? The simple and the smooth moving average, my favorite indicators of all time. But Elliott Wave is the one that just didn't click for me. It wasn't easy for me to get, and therefore not easy for me to teach other people.
Yeah.
Can I actually jump?
Totally
I have a
agree.
question on this, Chelsea.
Quiet, Alex. All right.
No.
So, Alex.
No.
Sorry.
You said pattern recognition. I've heard this come up in your show a lot, and I'm curious. Can you break down a little bit how you find a pattern? What constitutes a pattern? What are you looking for? Are there like some telltale signs that like, okay, this has the beginning signs of something maybe forming? This is now going on my like to watch list. Is there specific time frames that you're looking on? Do you have different patterns for different time frames? I'm very curious how that works, because I imagine the way you talk about it kind of seems like you just sort of harness the vibe of the chart and then find these chunks that like feel like a pattern. I mean, this is my interpretation of TA. Whenever any of you guys do it, I'm just like, we're just like putting our hand out and chart Gandalfing, a vibe out of it, and then finding some way to justify it. So I'm curious how you find your pattern.
Yeah. So when what I tell people in the class or in the live is when I go into a chart, when you look at patterns enough, you start to recognize them, right? And then you have your favorite patterns. My favorite pattern, as people will know in the chat, is head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders. I love Adam and Eve, double topped and double bottoms. And the reason why is they are more probable patterns to break out than some of the others. So I'm looking for strong patterns, right? When I go into a chart, I automatically will see a couple of patterns at once. And once I see those patterns, what I do is I put them into the bank, right, into my mind, and I look at the Stokes and the RSI, plus where the higher time frames are going. So let's just say I see an M pattern and it's on a slanted diagonal. And that's just literally an M, guys. If I see an M pattern and I know we're on a diagonal trend line and we now have the Stokes and the RSI, stochastics and the relative strength index, those measure volume, momentum, and the direction that money is flowing in. If I see those headed to the downside and I know we have an M on a diagonal, now I have double confirmation that, okay, this is an M pattern. It is coming down to the downside. And once it breaks that diagonal, now it is a confirmed M pattern that will break to the target. Sometimes I'll see within that M pattern, I'll see a bear flag at the end of the M, and that will be a triple confirmation. So what you're looking for is a pattern first, and then you're looking for patterns inside those patterns, and you're looking at the momentum and volume to guarantee that that pattern is actually going to break out to the target, if that makes sense.
Can we maybe see some screen share examples of this if you happen to have a chart at the ready or know a chart where you can illustrate this, because your language is super helpful. The people in podcast land appreciate it. But I wonder for the folks who are here, if you can throw something up that either of you, and we'll assist you with the screen share. It'd be great to see a visual of that. Adam and Eve, I've never heard of that. That sounds a little like risque maybe
Means you
on the
didn't
chart.
watch my video on it.
I'm so sorry.
You didn't watch my video on it, Evan. I only make 3 to 9 videos every single day, Evan. How do you not keep up?
There we go. He did a video on it because I saw it, right? And that is one of my favorite patterns. Do I screen share on the pot? Because I don't know how to screen share.
And then I'll get my phone and make sure the people on TikTok.
What you'll do is you can pull it up in your browser, and then at the bottom of this stream menu, you'll see a little like plus sign logo, or it's like a square with a plus sign, and then it'll say share screen. You can share just a tab. You can share it just like with Google or whatever. And then we will. Well, I'm actually going to do the screen share on TikTok because I have a feeling you might want to say, well, what about this chart? And I want you to have the freedom to do it.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm sharing. Hold on one second. I'm trying, but.
I do see that you're sharing, but you're sharing the StreamYard screen.
Oh, okay.
It's below the stage.
Hold
right
on.
Now. No, it's okay.
Right,
Take 2.
See.
And while you're doing it, let me
go.
just shout out the folks in the comments who say, love Will's shorts, love Bullish Babe. Someone said her show is like watching an energetic sports commentator. They learn a lot from you. Love this group from Ed. And I like this one from Rude Boy who said, like I said, a damn wizard.
Yeah, that's
So-
that's the accolade that I have to give. I'll like tune in. I'll see Chelsea in the beginning. It's like 20 minutes into the show, and her energy level is like an 11, and then 2 hours later, and it's still at the same thing. And just as someone who has been streaming for 6 years, that's not easy to do. It really takes it out of you. So massive.
Thank
props.
you.
I'll say as for solo streaming, I got like an hour and 10 minutes before I'm like,
You're done.
my throat.
Well,
my
they tell me
tonsils.
in the crowd, they tell me to drink. They're like, you need to get hydrated. So I'm trying
They're
to
concerned.
share my screen, but share this window. Here we go. I got it, I think. Can you guys see my screen now?
I can see the screen.
I was fighting Evan.
There we go. All right. So we're just gonna go to Bitcoin because it's the easiest right now. To show you guys kind of what I'm looking at right now.
Oh my God.
So
What?
Sorry.
yeah, I know. It's like chopsticks, guys. It is chopsticks, right? And everyone that's in my life,
Look at it on the TikTok screen. It looks so much worse.
it was so much worse.
It's like a meme.
Guys,
It's
I'm
like,
sorry, but this is
Don't
how I
worry,
do
guys.
it.
This makes sense. I'll break it all down. It's like Charlie. It's like Charlie from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Right?
Yeah, that's
I know,
the most
and-
intimidating chart I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I know. I'm so sorry. Right. And most of the people in my lives know that this is what it is. They call it pickup sticks. Right. And the reason why it looks like that, the reason why it looks like this is because I'm such a heavy trend line trader and pattern and diagonal and support and resistance. I cannot take these lines off of my chart or else I will be not helpful at all. Right. Because I also treat when a price action comes back into a pattern that it's been previously in, I treat it as if it never left. And most of the time, about 85 to 90% of the time, it will respect the pattern just like it never left the pattern. So I like to have my old patterns on so that I know when it's breaking back into that pattern and when it's going to respect it again. And I'll show you an example of what I'm talking about. If for some reason, right here, I'm on the 8-hour chart. 8-hour is one of my favorite time frames. And I explain this pretty much every day on the stream too. The reason why it is it's because it's in between two time frames that higher time frame traders hold and wait heavily, which is the 4-hour and the 1 day. And so when you get the 8-hour, for some reason, it shows you really clear movement of what those higher time frames are doing relative to the lower time frames. And so when you look at this 8-hour chart right now, as you can see, we are Ewing out here. And so what I did last night is I placed a long because I thought, you know what, we are most likely Ewing out here, and there is a W pattern on a lower time frame right here. And once it reaches this diagonal trend line, and once we get above it at 69,330, most likely we're going to head to this target right here at 71,068. Now, that doesn't get us out of danger, right? And this is where patterns come in. I can see that we're Ewing out here. However, we have this pennant right here that is part of a bear pennant. So this is the pole right here. This is the pennant that we're in, and we fell out right here. When we fell out, if we do not get back above this level right here, and I would say at 74, 74 has been my big number. We don't get back above the 74, 223. We have not invalidated this pattern, which means if we get up here and we actually make a break for it, and we get back in right at the tip of this pennant and we stay in here, we can still get rejected from the top trend line.
Chelsea, I'm going to need
go
to
ahead.
pause you right here because we have lost you on the big screen.
Oh no. How have you lost me on the big screen? Hold on.
Censored.
You froze
by the
for a
powers that
bit,
be.
and then I didn't want to mess up your roll till there was a pause. But you froze for like the last 20, 30 seconds here, and then
Okay,
you are
hold
off
on
the
1
big screen.
second.
It's okay. We'll get
I
you.
don't, thank you for pausing me. And
No
not letting me
problem.
go.
And I want to say for the people in podcast land, this is a great episode to pull up a YouTube for, because there is going to be a lot of visual stuff. You're using great visual language. When you were saying like Ewing out a second ago, that looked just like it sounded, as if coming down from the top branch of a U, you were like rounding the bottom as if to go back up again and complete it. So thank you for the helpful visual language.
And if you're watching my videos as well, and you're like, well, what exactly does that mean? If you've been watching my videos recently, that is the front toe of the elf shoe pattern that we've been talking
Oh,
about.
the elf shoe.
And-
I do
and
know
I
the elf
also-
shoe.
Oh, the
I
elf shoe.
also-
I heard someone say that the other day, and I've never heard that before, so that must have come from you.
Yeah, it came from me, but it does come from a very successful day trader from the stock market in the simpler trading community. So he coins that pattern. So, it is not mine, but I'm happy to share it with folks because freaking works.
Now,
Okay,
what's that rumbling noise?
Rumbling noise.
I think it's me. Okay, there we go.
Oh, we're still getting.
We're
oh,
bumping.
okay.
We're bumping
Whatever
with
you
the
did,
chat.
turn. All right, now it's good.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can hear
Now
you.
You're echoed again.
But there's an echo. How
Weird,
interesting.
you're
Hold tight. Let's figure this out.
Sorry, guys.
No, don't be sorry.
Where
Stacey, I want that sound. Now we have like a heartbeat sound. Okay, the heartbeit's gone.
Yep.
Okay, no
Heartbeat's
echo.
gone.
All right, here we go. Perfect.
Okay.
We are back
Here we
on
go.
track.
Back
All
in
right.
black.
So
Yeah.
let's see if I can
But-
allow share window.
Chelsea, while you're doing that, I'm extra glad to hear you say you said along because I also said along last night
Yep.
on Solana, and it's doing great. So I was just like, I think this is turning around. Long, go to bed.
Yeah, so I thought that it was turning around, but I will say I don't know if my screen up. I thought that it was turning around, and I was seeing some momentum to the upside. What I will say is that if you look on the daily, right? Oh, there we go. If you look on the daily, what I'm worried, actually, I'm going to show you the 4-day right now. What I'm worried about is this. When you look on the 4-day, this looks like a major bear flag to me. And so what I will say is this. I think that we have a pop up to then come down. This here looks like a major bear flag. Right here. Here's the pole right here. Here's the flag, guys. So we're in a bigger bear flag on the 4-day. And this is a perfect example of how you can have a bullish pattern. A lot of people, I got a lot of guff at first when I first got on because they were saying there's no way you can see a bullish and a bearish pattern. There is absolutely a way. And to be honest, when you are a good trader or a good chartist, you will be able to see bullish and bearish patterns on every single time frame. It's the majority of where the Stokes and the RSI are going that decide which pattern is actually going to break out. So for me, I'm heavily watching this 4-day because when you look at the daily Stokes, let's go down to the daily. And I know you guys can stop me whenever you want, but when you look at the daily, look at the daily money flip right here. This is telling us that most likely we will have a pop up here. We will not get up and over resistance, and we will roll over and come over and down. That's what this is telling me right now. Sorry, Bo, go ahead.
See that likely point? Because for me, I agree with you. I think we're setting up for a pop up and then potentially a continuation downward, mainly because historically Bitcoin in a bear market falls in between the 200-week EMA and the 200-week SMA, and then just below it for a bit of time. And we just got into that territory, so odds are we're going to be there for a while longer, which would mean a little bit lower. But I'm curious where you think that pop upwards could go, because I look at the futures chart and I see a gap at 81K up to the wick, and that to me is okay, it could be that high. Could be, I see resistance at 75K too, and then the most possible bullish scenario 84K. But I don't know if we have the juice for that.
Yeah, so I actually see us rejecting before 74, and here's why. 12-hour is rolling over right now, right? We're rolling over on the Stokes. We now have a bear flag right here. So here's the pole, here's the flag, right? And this right here would be the flag. This top trend line that I've drawn that is on a lower time frame. This is actually that W pattern that is on a lower time frame that should break out of this. What I'm seeing right now is that there's slumpage, right? And this is how we've caught this move a couple of times in the live in the morning. What happens is we roll in in the morning. It looks like we're going to pump, and then the 8-hour. What I say is this: when I see a cloud, and not everyone has this indicator, but when I start to see the cloud around the red line on the stochastics start to curve to the downside, this is usually, or even start to slump over a little bit, this is usually an indication that we have a weak move on our hands. And that's what this is showing me. We may not even get up above this level, right? So my main levels right now are 69,463. That's this diagonal trend line on a lower time frame. And then if we make it past there, we're looking at at the top of this pennant right here at 74,212, which by the way, we haven't been able to get over in a very long time. So for me, it looks like we're going to reject before 74. However, I just go from level to level, right? I'm not looking at a huge target. I'm not looking at a huge target to the downside. What I'm looking at is, do we get over 74.2? And if we do, the next level that we could reject at is this level right here, which is 79 or 80K. That's
Chelsea,
the lower trend line of the bear flag we broke down it from. Yeah, sorry.
let me pause you for a minute to say we've lost your video signal again. So before we go to the next level, give it a refresh one more time. And let me reintroduce you to the friends who don't know you in the comments. This is Chelsea at the Bullish Babe. You can find her over on TikTok. If you're watching the show on Facebook or YouTube or the Arena or Twitter or somewhere else, you definitely want to get over there and check her out. She's doing live streams after our streams and also has Cosmically Bullish in the afternoon. She's a day trader. She's here to break down all those wild and wonderful pickup sticks lines on the chart. And Chelsea, we had a question come in a little bit ago that Bearded asked. Chief Fact Check Officer wanted to know, are you still involved with Wolfpack? And I think the question behind the question is there a way that people who are looking to learn more with you, maybe who aren't on TikTok, can continue to do so?
Yeah, so I'm not involved in the Wolfpack anymore.
Started off. Oh, and now we're echoing again. Hold on.
It's okay. Hold
I
tight.
muted
You're
my
good.
mic. Is that better? There we go.
There we go.
Nailed it.
And so I'm not with the Wolfpack anymore. We're actually building a community right now. It's going to be in school. And it is actually ready. So we're going to start promoting that today. It is, I've hesitated to do that for a really long time. I don't want the group to turn into a signals group. And so it won't. So the value that they're getting from this community is actually, I'm going to do an extra stream in there a week. There's 2 tier levels. One of the tiers is just that you get to go into the extra streamer week. You get a few trade setups from me that are curated by me, and they are trade setups that I'm actually looking at. And then there's going to be informational and educational videos that are just like little mini sessions that you can actually watch and learn how to trade or chart. And then there'll be kind of a higher tier that is actually live trading. And that it will either be out today or tomorrow. I'm not sure when I'm going to promote it, but that's where you can find me. Otherwise, guys, I'm just free on TikTok every single morning at 9:15, and I do that for free every single morning. So if I don't want to price anyone out of the group, but if you can't afford it, I'm here anyway at 9:15 for 2 hours every single morning. So
Perfect. Thank you very much. And go ahead.
I do want to ask, because you had your stochastic RSI up and your RSI up, which for those of you in podcast land, 2 additional indicators below the chart that she uses. I use the same, but yours look very different. So you've made some customizations to your stochastic RSI and your RSI. So I would love to know, what have you changed, why, and what you have found from those changes, and why maybe someone might want to do it.
Yeah, so I use, I'm going to give my friend Phil credit for this, right? So in the Wolfpack, my friend Phil and I used to trade together a lot, and we had a lot of the same targets. One of the indicators that he used, and I haven't changed an indicator on my chart pretty much since I started trading, or added anything. So I've used the same strategy for years. One of the indicators that I have changed is this. I use his RSI, and it's this. The RSI 6. So my settings are set at 6, 12, and 24. It is the RSI _X3. It's the triple RSI. And what I find is this, and he taught me this, so this credit goes completely to him. When you have the Stokes that are pointed down, sorry, I don't know what happened there. If I go off again, let me know. You can stop me in the middle of whatever I'm saying. When the RSI 6, which is my orange line right here, is pointed down and pushing through the 12 and the 24, and you have the Stokes rolling over at the same time, and you know that you have a bearish pattern, most likely when that 6, which is the orange line, pushes through the 12 and the 24, that's where you get a big move. So if you have the Stokes rolling over and you have the RSI 6 pushing through the 12 and the 24, and you know that you're in a bear flag or a bear pennant, most likely the second that 6 pushes through the 12 and the 24 to the downside, that's when you get a big move on anything higher than a 15-minute. Otherwise, my Stokes is the Stoke STOCHRSMFI, and that is at default settings completely. And then I just have this the SMA9, the SMMA7, which is the smooth moving average, and the 4 EMAs, the 9, the 20, the 50, and the 200.
Okay.
Okay. And that RSI trick is, I will say, it works more often than not. It is a brilliant setup, and that is his own. So again, giving him all the credit, because that is the best tool that I've added to my toolbox in 3.5 years.
You know, something Doug was saying in the comments is that when AI is sufficiently advanced to interact with anybody anywhere who wants to learn to trade, it's going to call the same patterns. It's going to have data on Elliott Wave. It's going to have data on Wyckoff, and that's what it's going to suggest to everybody. And so his point was these weird, wonky indicators, this homebrew stuff, or the classic patterns that you interpret over time, those are going to become the edge, he thinks.
Yeah. And I agree with him. It's funny because we've been on a stream together and we've charted together. And again, everyone does things so differently, but he and I think, I feel like think very much alike, and we'll see this, a lot of the same things. And a lot of traders do that. It's not just me and him. It's whatever your strategy is, right? And that is going to be the edge. Sometimes I'll take certain snapshots of certain time frames of what I'm looking at and send it through AI and say to AI, hey, will you just analyze this and let me know if what I'm thinking is correct. The downfall with AI that I found is that they're not looking at those wonky patterns. They're looking at the perfectly placed ones. And if you only look at those, most of the time what'll happen is you'll get caught in the pattern, and you'll just have a bias toward the pattern, and you won't be able to see the outside and look outside the box.
Very cool. Doug said in the comments, I didn't do that, and I assure you, sir, you did. I read your comment verbatim, but I love you. Maybe I misquoted him. Okay, as you were, Will, what's the one that you like to use? The Moxie. That's the one that is not like standard on everyone's chart.
That was the new one that I added in from simpler trading. You have to pay for it, but I just found it to be like a better MACD. MACD, for those of you who don't know, it's a measurement of momentum. It has a bullish cross and a bearish cross, and it shows you when bullish momentum is really strong and starting to round over, and when bearish momentum is really strong and when it's starting to round over. And Moxie indicator essentially does the same thing, but I found that it's just like a little bit better, more finely tuned, particularly on the 8-hour time frame.
There we go.
The 8-hour is great. It was Doug actually put me onto the 8-hour, and I asked him, I was like, dude, why do you use the 8-hour? He goes, I don't know, man. It's just better. I don't know. And then I started using it, and I was like, shit, it's just better. It's just better than any of the short-term time frames. It just is, in my personal opinion. But like, still, I love the weekly and the monthly time frames the most, and everyone should. But yeah. I
do too. The monthly is one of the things that I'm looking at the most, actually. The monthly, to me, a lot of people are drawing that as a channel. To me, the monthly is already broken out of a rising wedge. And I can pop it up here and show you guys why I have that 16K target. And it's because of this, right? This right here. Sorry, I can never tell how to do this here. It's not this chart. Hold on one second. And guys, I'm a mess, right? Like I'm a mess. I am a mess, right? At most times. But here's what I'm looking at, right? A lot of people are drawing this monthly as if we're in a rising channel. And this bottom here, they're kind of like fudging this bottom to make it look like a rising channel. To be honest, I think that we are in a rising wedge that has been respected since 2021. Here's the top, here's the bottom. Price action goes from top to bottom in a pattern. Guess what, guys? We went to the top, we came to the bottom, we fell out. And not only did we fall out of the rising wedge on the monthly, we fell out of a M pattern on the weekly. Here's the M pattern right here. We fell out of that in addition to
Chelsea,
that.
Quick question. Is
Sure.
this the logarithmic chart, or is this the regular chart?
This is a regular chart.
Okay.
Hold on one second. Yeah. And so when you look at this, I keep saying, I had another content creator come into my live yesterday and said, when did you flip bullish? And I said, or when did you flip bearish? And I said, I've been bearish since I started my streams at 9 weeks ago or 10 weeks ago. And the reason was the rising wedge on the monthly. We have not only broken out of the rising wedge on the monthly, we've broken out of this M pattern on the weekly and a bear flag on the daily. So we've broken out of 3 bearish patterns at once on the monthly, the weekly, and the daily. And so that's why if you take this and you measure the width of the rising wedge, and you take this and you pull this down, which is the technical measurement of a rising wedge. You measure the mouth of the rising wedge. You take this to the supposed breakout, except it's not supposed anymore. And you pull that down. Look at this target right here, 16,514. And I'm not saying we're going down there, but what I'm saying is we are breaking out of a pattern that has been in place since 2021.
Yeah, so let me actually show you my chart as well, because I have a little bit of a different look on the monthly chart. So let me share mine and clean this up.
I can unshare mine now.
Oh no, I got it. You don't need to. Don't fret. The main pattern I want to direct people's attention to that I see is, this. It's not exactly a channel. It's an expanding channel, honestly, and this goes back to 2020. The first data point here from the base of the resistance, and these magenta lines here, and I'll make it a little bit bigger. And we had a false bullish breakout here starting as early as December 2024, and we broke, bearishly out of this. And typically that results in you really kind of going in and spending some time kind of retesting and having the bulls and bears fighting for a bit. And you have a strong chance of actually breaking out of this bearishly. But we do have a very strong line of resistance that if we were to fall like a rock this month or next month, you'd get to that baseline of support at roughly $30,000, $31,000. And if we were to fall like a rock, it does land at a pretty interesting area of support on this batch of previous consolidation and this inflection zone as well at 30,000. So I see that as like the doom scenario, and then you have to wait and see, hey, do we get like a little pop here and then we're probably safe, or do we ride this, weaken it, and then break below it, in which case I totally agree with your target. And there are a couple other lines of support we have here. I always forget where I find my hidden
that's why I keep my lines on, Will. That's why my chart looks like pickup sticks.
I know. Hang on a second. Where's this other?
And wait, what you guys are saying? You guys are saying 30,000 and 16,000 as like potential target levels for Bitcoin, our Lord and Satoshi.
That for me though is like, in order for Bitcoin to hit 30,000, I feel like you have to have MicroStrategy start to have to sell Bitcoin. Like that to me is that has to be the macro event that causes the technical analysis or
another exchange going down, possibly bankrupt, like that. And like we say, the charts reflect the news. So if we get down there and we start to look like we're coming down, very, very likely something is happening that we don't actually see yet in the news, but we see it in the charts.
Yeah. The other thing that makes this really possible too is you have a ton of fair value gaps all the way over here from 26,000 to $49,000. And what a fair value, so that, if I were just to color in Bitcoin's chart up to this point of resistance, that's all of this here. And these fair value gaps, they're kind of like gaps on the futures chart, but it's when price moves, but the volume wasn't convincing. And price movement in the future, no matter the asset, typically, not always, just like with gaps, but typically likes to head in that direction in the future. That, and also when you have an asset that goes straight up like this, and then it really starts to show a lot of weakness, and you just have, Doug and I just call it like disgusting empty space. Just
it's an abyss.
It's an abyss, and the abyss likes to get filled. So that's just like another quick eyeball test that says, I know it could go lower. But we do have this additional line of support going back to December of 2022, where it is a very likely bounce territory. If we were to go down this month, that'd be $56,778. If we're in next month, it would be $58,000. That's a likely area to potentially bounce for Bitcoin, and then see if that breaks. Then you're 1,000% going in and filling this territory and having a chance to come down to $31,000. But I do really think that you know, in order to have the TA fill out, you have to have an exchange go down, you know.
Right.
Every single bear run, there has always been crypto companies going bankrupt. And then guess what? They sell the crypto that they have because they're bankrupt. They have obligations. They have to pay people, you know?
And that could be why, you know, if it, like you said, you're seeing like the 30,000, right? And at first I was seeing the 29. And that could be why, if something happens like that, that we could wick down to that 16, right? If everything capitulates, and this is worst case scenario, guys, we may not even get even close to there, right? We may bounce here and go up. There's anything could happen, and you know, Will nor I nor Doug nor anyone else knows exactly where the charts are going to go. But if we do get down to 30K, do you know how many people will be panicking and panic selling? And that is usually like,
oh yeah,
those
that
liquidations.
like at that point, we could very easily wick to 16K.
Oh, I mean, just
right?
look what happened on October 10th. You said everything wick down 80%. You know?
There we go, right?
Yeah, those liquidations were nuts. So then on the flip side, though, and there was a question here in the audience, which was exactly where I was going to take this, is Chelsea, like, what's the bullish catalyst? Like, what could save things?
I mean, rate cuts for sure, right? Tax returns, I think, you know, tax refunds and possibly a stimulus. Clarity, a lot of people are relying on clarity.
No.
However, I don't think that's going to do it. I don't think that's enough, right? Yeah. Not only do I not think that's enough, I don't think, you know, I think people are looking around right now, and I try to tell my crowd in the mornings this as well. Not only have we been in a bear trend for since October, right? And even before that, but that's where those bear flags started breaking down. Not only have we been in a bear trend, but all you have to do is look around you and see how expensive things are and how much people are struggling. For you to know that there is not extra money for people to put into crypto right now. That's all you have to do is look around you. And I think people, you know, people get so clouded and in denial because they want their crypto to go up that they don't notice what's going on around them and just say rationally, people are struggling. People don't have extra money to throw into risk on assets. And until...
Oh, we lost you momentarily. And I'm not sure if you...
Am I down?
Yep, you're back. People, we got the end of your thought though. It was a well-made thought. Okay. When fear begets fear, selling begets selling. People are feeling the pain right now. Yep. I am personally feeling like I don't have enough dry powder because I wasn't planning on going this low, and I've already made some good buy orders. And you know, if we're gonna go lower, could you imagine Bitcoin at $16,000? I would sell Alex, and I'd go all in. You know what I mean?
Sell you first.
I have a very, very, very large buy order for Bitcoin at 30K in case it goes down to there. I just have that set and go, just in case. But now what I'll do is, you know, for that wick, I'll maybe take some additional money and set it to the side and go, let's just go 25, 20, 15 and just kind of add that there.
Yeah, a little YOLO trade at the bottom there, you know?
Trade at the bottom, yeah. Really capitulate on that wick. But no, I agree with you. I think clarity does absolutely nothing to the price. I also think that the answer moving forward is...
Just because that is such a commonly bandied about potential catalyst, there's reasons why we don't think so. I would personally put clarity in the buy the rumor, sell the news kind of thing. So first of all, right now, the only thing we keep hearing is that talks are productive, but we made no progress, which is, you know, oxymoronic. So that's interesting. But also too, even if like you get your wildest dreams come true and clarity passes, especially in its current iteration, it doesn't do anything that even on like a good day would incentivize like heavy asset purchasing, because it's not meant to do that.
Exactly.
It's meant to, you know, delineate responsibility of enforcement to different agencies and then also make it easier for surveillance to take place on centralized platforms. So, you know, in that sense, if anything, clarity could choke crypto more, but you could see that speculative pump on the news that it passes because so many people just have this kind of weird belief that we have no regulation and as soon as we get it, we're going to pop, which is nonsense, by the way. Doesn't mean
all of a sudden, finally, the trillions of dollars immediately enter. Oh,
Holy shit.
Whoa.
Podcast land, that is the sound of the chief gift officer flooding TikTok with cool gifts and sound effects. Shout out to our friend Solar Spartan. It's always good to see you show up in the chat. Thank
You heard
you
of
very
the
much.
bull, you heard of the bear, now you get the jaguar.
There we go.
Jaguar.
Yeah, where was I? Oh yeah, but like all of a sudden you think Clarity Act, and all of a sudden it's just like, finally these trillions of dollars will all enter crypto all at once. Like no, like what? Like no, you're holding on to hope because you're like, you know,
both of these
desperately
bills
too emotional.
Both of these bills, Genius and then Clarity, and especially the two of them together, neither one of them addresses any of the pain points that, in my opinion, are suppressing the ability for crypto to do crypto things like we've seen in years past. Genius is just a corporate benefits package to give a new way for large companies to make money, and then the structure for them to do that. And then Clarity just is helping the law enforcement side of things know what they're supposed to be doing. But the definitions are wonky. The DeFi thing is really weird. It sort of assumes that everyone is like trading and using DeFi exclusively through direct contact with the contract itself, which is silly and a tiny, tiny, tiny minority. And then, you know, more broadly, it just doesn't really do anything for the assets specifically. So like maybe someone could feel more confident. Maybe then you see this thing where like institutions will buy nonsense. They already are in spades, and it doesn't really help any of us in any way, shape, or form. One could say it hurts us. So yeah, I wouldn't put a lot of faith in that. But it could do weird things like in a very tiny little, you know, snapshot of time just because of misperception. What?
I don't know. I just wanted to fill the space for you. We could also have done and that would have been maybe the apt one.
It's a trap would be the appropriate.
It would be the appropriate one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at the end of the
Go ahead.
at the end of the day, oh, sorry.
You're good.
I was just gonna say, I think that this is gonna cause a lot of traps. Like all of these little news pieces, I think they're gonna cause a lot of traps, and we've already seen it. Like, you know, I've said.
Oh, I think you tap muted.
We're just kind of cutting in and out. I don't know why.
What? I hear Chelsea.
You do?
Yeah, I hear
You
Chelsea.
do?
Yeah.
Chelsea, give us a maybe. There you go. She's back again.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Lots
There
of
we
little
go.
traps.
Yeah, lots of little. I just said I'm not bullish again on Bitcoin or on alts until Bitcoin gets up and above 108 to 110. And that's because that diagonal trend line that we have at the bottom of 1077, that's where we broke down from, and we have not been able to get up and above. So we are very far from me flipping bullish babe right now. We are very far from it. And until we get up and over some of these resistance levels, even with those news pieces, I think they're just going to be pop-ups to pop us down again for a while.
I do want to quickly touch on, I think there's one other bullish catalyst that we were talking about, because I totally agree, like rate cuts, I think are, Clarity is not. And so what you need for rate cuts is you need inflation to start to come down and the labor market to honestly just kind of like chill. As long as inflation's coming down, like that's the big thing, right? And the other thing though, too, is if you have the Supreme Court will likely make a decision in the summertime around the tariffs. And if the tariffs are deemed to be illegal, that's an immediate 15 to 25% profit margin increase for companies. It's an immediate redistribution of cash back to the private sector away from the public sector. And they can hire more people, again, for the jobs they got rid of and didn't entirely replace with the AI. And then also there will be, costs will come down, not 15 to 25%. Of course, that's not how things work, but costs can come down for certain items also. So it provides relief to the economy too. So I think that's the other thing, is if the Supreme Court actually decides that the tariffs are illegal, it's just that's entirely up in the air, and no one knows what's going to happen there. No one really knows when it's going to happen. We just kind of think it's going to get some type of a ruling in the summertime. So I think that would also end up being a boost, particularly if the market's already beat the hell up.
There are
and one thing that oh, sorry.
No, there are some legislative catalysts we could get in theory too. Like there are little pieces of fringe legislation that have been proposed that have no support, that don't have any traction, and aren't really seeing any discussion on either floor. That would, for example, one of the biggest things I think that is suppressing, retail activity in crypto is the fact that the tax situation is an absolute nightmare, and you end up oftentimes paying the wrong kind of tax on the wrong sort of thing. And in theory, Clarity was supposed to help address that, and it's not at all, which is just another big like swing and a miss for that particular bill. Because, I mean, if anyone has ever tried to sit down and parse through all the different transactions and determine like where is a tax applied, where is it not, where do I owe, where don't I, your choices are either like, do I sit here for the next 6 months trying to figure this out? Do I commit tax fraud, or do I just like hope and pray that I get this right? And those are kind of like your three options, which is really not like a healthy way to participate. So it kind of just scares you away from even trying. And not to mention the way that we treat these things, if you're going between different assets, that's never really been as prevalent as it is now with crypto and swapping between different kinds of tokens. And all of a sudden, I mean, most tax softwares will treat a liquid staking swap as a taxable event, which is insane. So, big problem.
Yeah. So I'm getting a lot of comments here that I do want to address, because everyone's like, prices will never come down, prices will never come down, prices will never come down. So that's not how capitalism and free markets work. Like perfect example, gas. Gas is below $3. Price goes up, price goes down. Like we haven't had gas below $3 for a very long time. So like prices do go down. It's just that long term, because of inflation, everything gets more expensive, right? But you have fluctuations there. So a perfect example, tariffs gets removed. Companies want to keep their prices higher, right? Because they like making that amount of money. But then one competitor lowers the price and starts stealing customers because price is lower. Then you have to lower your prices, which causes prices to lower. So like there is a natural, because of capitalism and free market and needing to be competitive, a correction in pricing. It's just that long term, you are absolutely correct, everybody. Things just get more expensive long term, but you do have these ebbs and flows. So prices
also a
you
split,
could expect
though.
to get lower.
There's a split though between assets, because 100% on with gas, and like you could see the same thing with other energy costs, like cost of electricity and whatnot.
Yeah.
But as we relate to like your day-to-day survival expenses, if the price of housing continues to go up, we already have from the administration, they have no interest in that coming down at all, because we have to protect people's investments and secure their wealth, direct quote. And then food, most of that is owned by like the same two things. So that you have almost no competition to drive like food prices down. Food is such a necessity.
The food industry is super centralized, and that's the biggest problem.
Yeah. So food is not coming down. Like I'm sorry, but grocery prices are screwed. Because why would they? We keep buying food because you have to. So why would you lower the price when they're going to keep buying food anyway?
Yeah. Well, the other thing is like beef is a perfect example. Like the beef industry is amazingly centralized, and that's one of the reasons why price is super high. But it's also because there's been a ongoing drought for a while, and there hasn't been as much prairie land for cattle to feed off of, so you can't have as much cattle. So that's also like, there's so much that goes into prices going up or down than just one thing like tariffs or just a drought or just like, it's a whole very mass equation that goes into it. But yeah, if you want beef prices to go down, you need some rain. But also, the only place to get cheap beef is if you go to like a actual local private cattle ranch, and there aren't many of those in the States, and you can actually get cheap beef there. But because it's so centralized, they monopolize the market. So I guess at that point, the only option is you then have the government break up the monopoly. But then it's like, well, the government's stepping in the private sector. And then it's just like, well, at this point, you kind of get, but it happens. It just happens very slowly. Monopoly breakups happen, and then they remonopolize, and then you break it up, and then they remonopolize.
But that's how it should work. But we wouldn't do that, because we've hyper politicized everything to the point that if the government tries to do any of its core functions, whichever party happens to propose it will just invoke the ire of the other side for no reason other than the fact that, wait, I hate you. And then we just keep getting this problem over and over again. Not to mention the people monopolizing everything are the biggest lobbyists. And here you go, broken forever.
And then eventually breaking point French Revolution. And then, just remember, the answer to everything, if you open up a history book, is violence. Do not go in the streets and riot. Do not go in the streets and riot. But I remember there's this
This
one
is
meme.
really positive today. Bitcoin's going to 16K and we're resorting to
There's
violence.
okay, just smite.
That's how we're supposed to treat monopolies.
Wait, Leigh from the comments section. When violence?
When violence.
No, there's this one meme I love because violence is not the answer. Opens up history book, flips through pages. Oh God. Oh God.
Oops. Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, what were we talking about before all this? Oh, right. Price is going down. I think we nailed that. System's kind of fucked. Whatever. You know, things work, things don't work. It's all a fugazi. We live in a simulation. Anyway.
But what could happen is that we could get a couple of news pieces that are positive on top of each other, right?
Sure.
So we could get that like stacking of good news at some point that actually rockets us up and over resistance. And if we can sustain it, then that's where I'll start looking for longs, right? And so in this market, like if we can stack that good news on top of each other at some point, I don't know when that is, but at some point that may happen, and that may be the catalyst for us to explode to the upside.
Awesome. I forgot that was the impetus of this entire conversation, but this was a lot.
That's okay.
Okay, let me bring it back real quick for some signposts and bumper stickers. If you're just joining us, we're hanging out with Chelsea, the Bullish Babe. You can find her at the Bullish Babe over on TikTok. And if you're tuning in from Chelsea's audience, hey, this is the Rise Up Morning Show. I'm Evan. He's Will. He's Alex, and we are here to help you become a safe, confident cryptocurrency user. Whether you're just curious or skeptical and want to learn more, or you're somebody who's trying to go deeper with DeFi, we will help you do it all. The number one tip I can give you if you're trying to learn cryptocurrency is to get into a group, a community. Find some friends who already use it. You can hang out with the Bullish Babe. You can hang out with us. And if you want to connect with us, we are live Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. We're live Monday nights for Rise Up Market Watch. We're live Tuesday nights for Trust Issues, exploring the intersections of crypto politics and policy, and Wednesday nights for Rise Up After Dark. And of course, today we've got the after show. The place to find it all, every resource related to Rise Up, is community.rumshq.com. We have so much great stuff there. It's totally free to join. The only thing missing is you. We are going to wrap this show in about 10 or 15 minutes because Bullish Babe's got to start her show and we've got to start the after show. So leave your last questions, suggestions, good jokes, words of wisdom, or anything else in the comments as we prepare to ride our dogs and ponies into the sunset. Chelsea, is there anything else that you want to plug for people watching? Do you have an ask for them, or is there any other topic area that you'd like to kind of explore before we wrap up and you prepare to start a stream?
I'm good. Thank you so much, guys. I obviously have my stream every morning at 9:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, guys, every weekday. I don't do any streams on the weekends. However, I am there for 2 hours in the morning. And it is just charting. We're not trading. I'm not trading live. I do give you trading tips. However, it's just charting. We have a great community there. And then I also do one of the coolest shows on TikTok, which is Cosmically Bullish. That is Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, and I do that with Cosmic Crypto. He's in the audience, and that's at 3:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have that today, so if you guys want to join us, please do. Any of my crowd that's in here, please give these guys a follow. They're great, and thank you for having me today. I really appreciate you guys. This was super fun.
Thanks for coming on. Yeah, it was a blast.
Yeah. Absolutely. I hope you guys have a great day. I'm going to go get ready for my stream. But we'll see you guys soon for sure.
Sounds
Bye,
good.
guys.
Sounds good.
Ladies and
Thank
gentlemen,
you.
Monsters and Machines,
Bye.
she's a friend and mine, the Bullish Babe. Well, Alex, our break's over.
For real. That's
Gross.
okay.
For real,
I have-
man.
I'm back with both of you.
Sorry. Can't help it. I uploaded a YouTube video. I uploaded one to Twitter. I was telling the TikTok chat I was picking my nose off screen. It was great. You drank some coffee. You know.
That's good. Oh,
So-
you know,
So thanks for that.
yeah, that was great. We got to get Chelsea back on again. I think we will be having more of her on. I believe
Yeah.
so.
For sure. There was a lot of comments kind of coming up that I was noticing in the chat that are just about like the inaccuracy of technical analysis. And I think that both of you guys did a good job of highlighting the fact that, like, you know, none of this is a guarantee. You're looking and trying to, like, identify patterns that may or may not be worth taking a chance on something through, you know, a non-exact science. I mean, as that was kind of one of the goals of having the two of you here together, being Will and Chelsea, is that people who do this, who, you know, practice TA, have different methodologies. They're not both the same. There are similarities, but, you know, none of it is meant to be like a tea leaf read. That's why, you know, a good analyst would say, well, you know, this setup could lead you to this, or it could lead you to that. I mean, I've been a relatively outspoken critic in the past of blanket TA. I feel like a lot of it is kind of self-fulfilling prophecies. We're all looking for patterns that exist, and then because of those happening in the past, they influence future behavior because of what the setup is, which then just reinforces the existing pattern. But you know, you can't like take any of this stuff in a vacuum and then, you know, base all of your activity on. You will inevitably lose at some point, because nothing is an exact science.
You know, the other thing is, sorry, go ahead, Will.
I was just gonna say it's just it's like another way to think about it is a really good way to add some strategy to your risk management.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's it.
And
you know,
the big takeaway I had, honestly, from this segment, aside from every educational bit, is there is so much bullying, misogyny, and just meanness in the comments. I think with regard to Chelsea, we don't have that kind of talk in our chat, and I just want you to know, if you're somebody on the internet for the purpose of tearing someone else down, I get it. Your opinion is different, but that is so unattractive. It makes you look weak. It makes you look foolish. It's like a signal that repels people from you. So if your goal is just to like die lonely in isolation without any happiness left, then you should keep doing that. But if it's not, I would really encourage you to get a hug virtually from us, come over here, and then shape up. There's no place for that stuff. It's crap.
Yeah, it's toddler energy.
Yeah, like, I don't know, probably, you know, men with insecurity and women with jealousy. I don't know who it is, but they're small people. Big people build people up. So more of that, please. Rise up. Come on. Rise up.
Yeah, they will live sad, dark lives, and they will get sadder and darker, and then they will fade into nothing, and they will be forgotten.
They will be forgotten. Okay, so
no one will remember your name. Anyway,
what did you have, Alex? You said there were a couple of interesting questions here, and I'm curious if there were follow-ups for TA or if we have something else we can tackle before we run away.
Well, I think we could end with this, or at least I can, just because it's wild, and I didn't get the memo, but shout out to the comment section, the helpful part, for pointing out this wild event that just happened. Did you guys see the Bithumb, the South Korean exchange?
Wait, did it go bankrupt while we were talking about it?
Nope. It's honestly worse. I mean, they still function, but like hell of a mistake. It's imagine being the one who fat fingered this. So the story is that as of what day is it? Yeah, as of 2 days ago, the South Korean authorities have launched an investigation into this exchange, Bithumb, after somebody who was trying to credit users with a dollar reward accidentally fat-thumbed Bitcoin instead of dollars into the amount total. And this is another thing. Like, here's why centralized exchanges have issues and you need to be careful with them. So because this didn't exist, and because this was a surface level, a paper issue, they basically manufactured 620,000 fake Bitcoin just on the front end and tried to credit that much Bitcoin to a handful of users. And they've managed to, retract and recover 99% of it. But there's still like a bunch that was able to get cashed out, even though none of this happened on chain, just because it was a front end exchange issue. And some people who were like paying attention caught that deposit of paper Bitcoin, phantom Bitcoin as it's called, to their account and cashed it into the exchange and left. and they're like trying to track these people down and reach out to them and ask them to return the money because like the Bitcoin never existed. And so it led me down this interesting little exploration to this concept of phantom Bitcoin, which is an exclusively centralized issue wherein like the front ends of these different things are doing effectively like what Venmo does or PayPal does, wherein money that moves between accounts doesn't actually exist. It's just numbers on a screen and then they settle up later. So like this credit did not happen on chain, so effectively the exchange's database is like, hey, all of these accounts that just won $2,000, here's 2,000 Bitcoin. None of it existed. Blockchain is like, hey, wait a second, none of that's real, denied, not a valid transaction, which is, for the record, exactly what it's supposed to do. So the big takeaway is, hey, Bitcoin worked perfectly, but it's going to now get a bad rap extra because of this exchange just sucking at their job. And then the exchange cold wallet is like, yep, that balance doesn't exist. You don't have the authority to send that amount to anybody. So the ledger, kind of gets this error. But because some people were like right on it, if you were staring at your account, you get this fake credit and you were able to do something with it, again, only on the front end, but that turned into dollars, which you were then able to withdraw. Huge problem. So the exchange lost money, and that's why it's being investigated now. Crazy.
I mean, can you imagine being that guy going into work or the notifications on your phone are blowing up and you're like, what the hell's wrong? This is great. This is way better than I expected. Maybe you think until you click into it and you're like, why is our Bitcoin store so low? Oh no.
Yeah,
sorry,
absolutely
pal.
insane. So yeah, really interesting. Shout out to the comments. I apologize. I don't remember who if that was you that told me about that, then let me know and I'll give you your accolades. But crazy. So I mean, as a result, the price of Bitcoin on that exchange, as it was being reported to users over there, cratered in comparison to the yuan, because so that selling pressure caused it was a 17% flash crash specifically on Bithumb's Bitcoin to KRW market. So even though the Bitcoin wasn't real, people who were paying attention, like I said, were able to arbitrage that whole experience. And because of that then disparity in Bitcoin's price on that exchange specifically, it opened up an arbitrage opportunity where people were buying and selling mistakenly underpriced Bitcoin on that exchange and getting rid of it and doing other things with it, effectively because it didn't exist. Which is just, I mean, again, remember the last time Solana had an issue, got blamed on Solana, but it was a phantom problem? It's the exact same thing. The centralized Web 2 tech failed. The stopgap was the fact that the blockchains continued to work, and yet who gets the bad rap? And that's all just on the way that we keep talking about this stuff.
So let's do a round of final thoughts, and let's remind folks, the Circle community is the place to go if you want to join the after stream. It is going to be a great time. You can ask us your questions, not limited by characters in the chat. You can speak to us voice to voice, face to face. And I promise you, it will be helpful if you like the show. My final thought on the way out the door comes from the Unchained Crypto newsletter. They highlighted this tweet from Uzi Crypto. The tweet says, consistency is key, and it's an image with Ethereum's price in 2018, $1,900, and Ethereum's price today, $1,900.
That's tough.
It is tough.
I just realized looking at this that we are very rapidly approaching my 10-year in crypto anniversary, which will be this April.
Ooh!
Wow!
Well, very
You're
exciting.
that.
Dig back into the records of time to find the exact date, but it was like mid-April of 2016 that I technically made my first purchase.
Hey guys,
Very cool.
Greg won an Arculus wallet last night. He's asking us where to message for that. So Evan, you let him know. Should he message your profile directly? He messaged the Rums page on Twitter. It should be the Rise Up community.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You should message us anywhere, any channel, community.rumshq.com. Alex has the link on the screen.
So I think we just got to
I
go.
did on Circle.
Perfect.
Then be
perfect.
patient, my friend. We will absolutely get it to you. Tori has a super handy dandy form you can fill out to specify which Arculus you want, and then we'll ship it off to your home, to your business, Wherever in the world you direct us to send it, Arculus will ship it there for you. So congratulations, Greg. Other
It's about time for me where I got to start
Right.
heading off. So, in the last 10 minutes or so, I think we'll get our final thoughts and words of wisdom and jokes and all that kind of stuff. So,
Tell me you weren't listening without telling me you weren't listening. It is your final thought. This is it now.
So it's
You
time
may
for our
have it.
final thoughts, guys. I think we should be ready for it and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, my final thought is, I kind of forgot that we're going to Denver next week. So
Right?
I forgot. I was like, shit, wait, East Denver's next week. I was like, ah, shit.
When do
I
you
don't
fly,
know.
Will?
I fly over on the 17th. I think I'm
Okay,
there at the. Am I there at the beginning of the day or the end of the day? Let me see.
Okay, so we're
Yeah, I fly
we're
over it.
arriving
I
the
get
same
over
day.
there at like 10:20 in the morning.
Okay.
And then I'll have like some work stuff. So I'll just go to the Airbnb and get set up and crush through some work things that I have to catch up on. And I'll try to make sure I have most of it done on Monday. But yeah, I'll be working a little bit like I did last time, do a little bit of work, be at the conference, be at events, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, you got work to do, buddy. Prepare. We'll start napping now. Start
2 a days.
Well,
start,
no, what I'm
start
going to
upping
do
your
is I'm going to go to the
caffeine
conference in the morning. I'll be there for an hour and a half to 2 hours. And then when I want to kill myself and I've already talked to everybody and had every conversation I wanted to do, I'll go, hey, you're going to meet this guy. I'm going to hold up a picture of Alex and he's going to talk to you for about 5.5 hours. And just remember, he's my partner and I will see you later. I'll see you at the bar tonight.
He's not getting away that easy.
Oh, I'm getting away. I'm totally getting away. The side events. Oh, I'm there. I'm there all day. The conference floor. Oh,
Yeah. Alex, that one's
Your
for
media,
you.
baby.
Although
Get on that
I look
floor.
forward to it.
I
Alex,
do
have you got a final?
I do need a Will robot to go to the conferences for me.
I'm
Will
ready, man.
bot.
I'm so excited. Conferences bring me to life. I'm ready for it. It's gonna be good.
Beautiful.
Oh,
if you're going
Evan,
to East
I was gonna-
Denver,
there
send
was
us a message.
There was a question about just is the show happening next week? So I'm anticipating that trust issues may be impacted because I genuinely do not remember when I land on Tuesday. So I might put a pin in that one for the week. But Evan, you're arriving before us. Is there any impact specifically to the
Nope.
morning show and after dark schedule that we're anticipating, or what's the?
We have plans to run every stream. It's possible that if we get invited to some hootenanny wild event that we may cancel Rise Up After Dark or something like that. We will keep you posted. The best place to find out about that is right here, wherever you are, wherever you listen, and in the community. We will post updates to it there. We'll post it on all socials. But we
Yeah,
anticipate a full week of shows.
Question out to the audience: if you guys look online and see anything of note or interest happening in Denver next week, conference related or conference adjacent, and you would like to make sure that we get coverage on it, or something that you're curious about learning more about, or someone specific that you see is going to be there that you would like us to talk to, whatever, then let us know and we'll make it happen.
Bearded, you are correct.
Thank you.
Thinking about the conference, I'm already tired, and Alex is already chipper and slightly less salty and ready to go at the thought of it.
I love a trade floor.
Oh God. Oh God.
There's so
Yeah,
many
he's
people.
saving for himself. You know?
There's so many people to talk to. Oh my God, there's so many people to talk to.
Yeah, there's so many
also,
people.
Crypto Boat, we will also be at Consensus Miami in May.
Yep,
That's right. In fact,
absolutely.
another thing I did during the live show today was submit a pitch for a talk. So thank you for that. Hopefully they like it. This is a really productive show for me. I got to say, we should have Chelsea back more often, and you guys can
Yeah,
talk
it's
about
great. You
shows.
get to do so many things.
Got
That's
so
me
many-
a lot of the times when you guys start talking. I'm just like, did you do things to do, organize? Will, what are your thoughts on this random bullshit?
You know. Okay. I know you got to go. We got to get in the after show. I'm going to start it in about 10 or 15 minutes after I get a chance to use the bathroom quick. We will see you there. Until next time, everybody stay safe. Be well. My friends,